The shadow eviction. The secret database controlling where you live. Imagine you have done everything exactly right. You worked hard. You built your career. You spent years meticulously protecting your credit score, making sure every payment was on time. You saved up for first and last month's rent. You found the perfect apartment in a good neighborhood. You submit your application. You pay the $50 background check fee. You start packing your boxes, completely confident that the keys will be yours by Friday. Then, the email arrives. Application denied. No explanation. No phone call. Just a generic rejection letter. You check your credit score. It is a pristine 760. You check your bank account. You make 3 times the monthly rent. By every traditional financial metric, you are the perfect tenant. So what happened? Most Americans believe their financial reputation lies in one place, their credit report. They believe that if they pay their bills, the system will reward them with a place to live. That is an illusion. There is a second, invisible system. A shadow database that you have never seen, and likely never knew existed. And right now, this hidden system is quietly locking thousands of middle-class Americans out of the housing market. To understand how this machine operates, we have to look at the people caught inside of it. Meet David. David is 34 years old. He is a graphic designer living in Chicago. He is exactly the kind of person you want as a neighbor. He is quiet, employed, and responsible. After living in the same apartment for 5 years, his landlord decided to sell the building. David had 30 days to find a new place. He wasn't worried. He had a great salary and a flawless rental history. He found a beautiful complex managed by a large corporate property firm. He applied. And 24 hours later, he was denied. David was confused. He called the leasing office. The agent on the phone sounded cold. "We don't rent to people with multiple criminal convictions and a history of evictions," she said. David froze. He had never been arrested in his life. He had never been evicted. He tried to explain, but the agent simply told him that their system said otherwise, and hung up. In a matter of seconds, David's identity had been erased. He had been replaced by a digital ghost. A ghost with a criminal record. David assumed this was identity theft. He pulled his credit reports from Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Nothing. They were perfectly clean. His FICO score was excellent. So where did the property manager get this information? When you apply for an apartment today, the landlord does not call your previous landlord. They do not call your boss. They do not look at you as a human being. They type your name into a third-party tenant screening software. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry that operates almost entirely in the dark. One of the largest players in this space is a company called RentGrow. They provide automated background checks for thousands of property managers across the United States. When a landlord hits enter on your application, RentGrow's algorithm scours thousands of fragmented public records. County courthouses. State police databases. Eviction registries. It scrapes this data, packages it, and spits out a simple approve or deny recommendation in seconds. It sounds incredibly efficient. But there is a catastrophic flaw in the design. In July of 2026, the Federal Trade Commission, the United States government agency tasked with protecting consumers, filed a massive complaint against RentGrow. The investigation revealed something terrifying about how this software actually works. Let's pause for a reality check. The FTC alleged that RentGrow's algorithm was taking a single eviction or a single criminal charge and displaying it multiple times on the same report. If a tenant had one minor issue from 10 years ago, the algorithm duplicated it. It made applicants look like serial EVICTs or repeat offenders, automatically triggering a denial for housing. How does a multi-million-dollar software company make such a fundamental mistake? To answer that, you have to look at the data itself. America does not have a single, centralized database of court records. It has thousands of local, messy, poorly updated county systems. When a tenant screening algorithm scrapes these systems, it has to figure out if the John Smith who was evicted in Ohio is the same John Smith applying for an apartment in Texas. Because court records rarely include social security numbers, the algorithms rely on weak identifiers. First name, last name, sometimes a middle initial or a previous address. The FTC found that RentGrow's system was taking updates to a single court case, like a hearing date, and then a judgment, and treating them as entirely separate, new offenses. But the nightmare doesn't stop there. Even when applicants realized there was a mistake, the system trapped them. According to the FTC investigation, when consumers successfully disputed these duplicate records, RentGrow would sometimes tell the consumer that the error was fixed. But they would allegedly tell the property manager that the record remained unchanged. The consumer thought they were cleared. But the digital ghost was still there, quietly shutting the door in their face. Why would a company build a system like this? Why not just have humans double-check the files before ruining someone's life? It is not about malice. It is about incentives. In the modern real estate market, corporate landlords want speed. If an apartment sits empty for a week, that is lost revenue. They do not want to wait 3 days for a human investigator to call courthouses and verify records. They want an answer in 3 seconds. Tenant screening companies are incentivized to provide that speed. Hiring humans to verify data is expensive. Writing an algorithm to scrape data is cheap. Furthermore, the incentive structure heavily favors false positives over false negatives. If the software mistakenly approves a bad tenant, the landlord might sue the screening company. But if the software mistakenly denies a good tenant like David, the landlord simply moves on to the next applicant in line. There is zero financial penalty for denying a good person. The system is economically designed to be overly aggressive. It protects the property owner. It protects the software company. And it leaves the American middle class to pay the price. So, what do we do with this information? The goal here is not to feel helpless. The goal is to understand the mechanics of the game so you can protect yourself. Action step number 1: know your rights under the FCRA. The Fair Credit Reporting Act states that if you are denied housing based on a background check, the landlord must tell you the name of the screening company they used and provide you with a copy of that specific report. Do not just walk away. Demand the report. You cannot fight a digital ghost if you cannot see it. Action step number 2: freeze the secondary bureaus. Everyone knows about Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. But you also have the right to request your data and place freezes on secondary specialty bureaus like LexisNexis and CoreLogic. These are the massive data brokers that feed information into tenant screening algorithms. Control the source of the data, and you control the algorithm. Action step number 3, pre-screen yourself. Before you pay a $50 application fee, ask the leasing agent exactly which screening company they use. If they use a system known for algorithmic matching errors, bring a printed copy of your official, clean background check to the viewing. Force the human interaction before the algorithm takes over. What happened to David? David didn't give up. He demanded the specific RentGrow report from the property manager. When he finally saw it, he found the error. The algorithm had confused him with a man who had a similar name and a slightly different date of birth, but who lived in a completely different state. David forced the correction. But it took 3 weeks. By the time the system acknowledged his true identity, the apartment was already gone. Rented to someone else. He ended up paying a premium for a smaller apartment from a private landlord who still did background checks by hand. David won the battle, but the machine still exacted a toll. The American housing market is no longer just about supply and demand. It is about data. It is about algorithms that make instantaneous judgments about your character based on fragmented, broken information. You spend your entire life building your reputation in the real world. But tonight, somewhere in a server farm, a machine is deciding if you are truly who you say you are. The system doesn't see your hard work. It doesn't see your character. It only sees the data. And the data can be wrong.